Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here today. As I was introduced, I'm the Chief Learning Officer of Degreed. And Degreed is an education technology company based in San Francisco. And we're actually changing the way the world learns and making all learning matter. So I've spent my whole career in Silicon Valley. And what I've noticed is that with all the changes going on in the workforce, with automation, digitization, and acceleration, we have a huge challenge ahead of us, and it's a skills gap. And people have been talking about it for some time now. And you know, this track is called Future of Learning, but the reality is that the future of learning is already here. These challenges that we're facing are facing us today. It's not sometime in the near future or the distant future. So what we do know is that 92% of CEOs are worried that their employees don't have the skills that they need to be successful in the workforce. That's a high percentage. And the other fact is that we actually have more jobs than we have people to fill those jobs. In the US alone, we have over 6 million jobs without people with the skills needed to fill those. And if you have kids under the age of 5 years old, they more than likely will have jobs that haven't yet been invented. So the questions we need to ask ourselves, and that we don't often do, it's a very simple question: what skills do we have now, and what skills will we need in the future? And how many CEOs can actually answer that question? If a CEO were asked, what skills do you have in your company, and do you know if you have the skills you need for your employees moving forward? I would say 0% can accurately answer that question. Business leaders also want to know if their people in their organization have the skills that they need to be successful. And in the individual level, you can be asking yourselves, what skills do I have? And do I have the skills that I need to be successful in the future? Skills are the currency in the expertise economy, and they drive so many things. It's not just about a learning strategy, it's about a recruiting strategy, an internal career marketplace. It can be used for onboarding and career conversations. So we need to start thinking in terms of skills and not just learning. So how do we do that? How do people learn every day? What we do know is through some research that 79% of people are actually learning from all the resources that are out there today, all of the free resources. And if you ask yourself, how do you learn every day? Most people will say, oh, I Google, or I watch YouTube, or I read books, listen to podcasts. That's how people are learning. They're not learning from our traditional sources anymore. And we also have to ask the question, because not many corporations ask this question, is what really motivates people to learn? I'm quite sad, having been a CLO of LinkedIn and other tech companies in Silicon Valley, that we don't often think about what motivates people to learn. We just try to push learning onto people. But what really motivates people to learn is actually understanding where their career goals are. You know, what skills do I want to learn to help me get either better at the job I have today, or get ready for my job of the future? So that's what really motivates people, not pushing learning, compliance training, or other types of learning that they may not care about and may not be relevant to them. So I'm going to share with you how some of the smartest companies are preparing for skills in the expertise economy. First of all, we do know that 62% of executives believe that they're going to have to upskill and reskill at least a quarter of their workforce over the next 5 years. That's amazing. Just think about that. That's a lot of people to have to upskill and reskill. Due to automation, I mean, some jobs are going away, new jobs are being created, and that's the challenge that we face. So the CEO of AT&T is taking a very interesting approach, I would say, to telling his employees how they should be upskilling and reskilling. And basically what he's saying is that you should expect to spend 5 to 10 hours a week learning on your own time the skills that you need, or else your skills will be obsolete, and basically you might not have a job. So that's one approach to the skills gap and trying to get people to build the skills that they need. The next approach is Unilever, who's saying, we want to upskill and reskill 161,000 people across the globe. We're going to give you tools like Degreed to help you do that with your employees. Great strategy. Booz Allen Hamilton has an initiative called Data Science 5K, and what they're doing is saying that they're going to actually reskill a quarter of their workforce in data science and talent analytics in order to get their workforce ready for what they know is the future of their business. eBay has put together an internal career marketplace, and I love this idea because oftentimes we don't have the opportunity to put into practice the skills that we've acquired. And what eBay is doing is saying, look, we're going to put projects and jobs in an internal career marketplace and help you actually have a project to apply your skills or a new job to apply your skills. And it's fabulously successful at their company. And if you think that upskilling and reskilling is just for tech companies, you're wrong, because cross-skilling has been a strategy of Martin Steele for so many years. And what they do is make sure that everyone knows how to do all the different jobs that their employee base has. So they're always cross-skilling each other, which is incredibly effective. This is Nick Van Dam. He's the CLO of McKinsey, a good friend of mine, and I think he makes this great point that basically the old strategies of saying that we have a small central group that's going to know what everybody needs to learn in order to build all the skills that they might need for the future is an outdated thought. Really, you can't have that strategy anymore. Instead, you need to be looking across your company and empowering everybody to help reskill and upskill, share their expertise. So one of the things that you can do is use technology to tap into your expertise. I'm showing my own personal learning profile with my skill profile of what skills I have in the learning I'm doing. I can share my expertise with my peers or people who aspire to do a job like I have. Also, you can personalize learning. Personalized learning is so incredibly effective because, like Spotify for music, you actually get learning in playlists by the topic that you want to learn delivered directly to you through technology. And I would say a really powerful thing that's happening in the world of learning right now is learning and talent analytics. If you know what your people are learning, where they're learning it, how they're learning it, and you can gather that data, you can more accurately know how people like to learn, what they want to learn, but more importantly, what skills they're building, so you actually can answer that question, what skills do my employees have? What skills do they need? What skills do I have? What skills do I need? Microsoft has done an amazing job of building a learning culture and reinventing itself. I love this, and the reason I mentioned it is that I would say if you are thinking about changing your learning strategy so that you can effectively upskill and reskill your workforce, it's going to be incredibly important that you have a culture that supports that. And so Microsoft has done an incredible transformative journey on creating a learning culture. And what their CEO says is that we really want everybody to be learn-it-alls, not know-it-alls. And that gives everybody the opportunity to feel vulnerable. Even if you're the CEO of a company, you can realize, I haven't learned everything that I need to learn. And it lets others realize that they can be vulnerable and learn things too. So it's really important to let go of outdated learning strategies and to quit just thinking of one-size-fits-all training. Move to more self-directed learning, personalized learning, learning in the flow of work, and think about learning technologies that really, like Degreed, that can really help you have a strategy that will help your learners really build the skills that they need. And lastly, I'd like to say, I get the question a lot, what skills are most important for the future? And I would say it's really hard to predict what skills we'll need in the future, but if you have learning agility, that means the ability to continuously learn and build skills all the time. That's the most important skill that you need for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly. Excellent presentation, and it was so much fun to learn about the work you're doing at Degreed, as well as the examples and tools you gave the audience to create visibility so they can answer the question of what skills do people have. And before I let you go, though, if I may ask you a couple of questions. Throughout your presentation, I observed a connecting thread of making self-learning count, and to have it matter professionally, and through it to create measurable business impact. So let me ask you, if businesses in the future have open access to see what skills people have, what becomes possible for that business in question?
I think that it was partly what we talked about, this idea that you can have both an internal career marketplace and an external career marketplace. We see the future moving towards a gig economy in a lot of ways. And so if you're a company and you want to retain your employees, think about how that can help you retain employees so that they can find opportunities within your company. If it's outside of your company, think about the gig economy and think less about job descriptions and more about what skills people have that they can actually apply immediately to add value.
So productivity increase as well as retention, as you mentioned. Wonderful. And finally, before we move to Jackson, I've got to ask Kelly a funny question. Where do you see yourself in 2050, Kelly?
So you asked me this ahead of time, so I had a little time to think about it, but I would say I see myself somewhere in Italy doing gig work and writing another book, possibly.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.